welcome back to Once Upon an Isabel. I'm making another readathon themed video because I guess that's all I ever do is readathons. Like I said in the last one, I generally try to do one a month, and I'm doing the book Junkie trials for July. And as it is now late June, I figured I would film a TBR for it because I wanted to film another video. I'm just going to start at the beginning. There's 17 books, so I'm going to try to go fast. I'm not going to give synopses for these because that would take way too long. So I'm just going to start. I'm a scribe, so I'm going to start with the 5 challenges that all the scribes have to do. Alright, so the first one is the Dwarf Mount, which is read a romance, and for this it's an ebook, but I'm reading Always and Forever, Laura Jean. It's the third To All the Boys I've Loved Before book because I want to, and because that's the one I'm on. The next one is Apothecary Towers, which is pick a book at random, and this one actually ended up being kind of interesting, but I picked a book at random, and for this I had my sister pick a random book that I hadn't read off of all the shelves in my family's house. We ended up with The Return of the King by J.R.R. Tolkien, Lord of the Rings book 3, which was kind of awkward because I actually haven't read The Two Towers either. I read The Hobbit and about the first half of The Fellowship of the Ring when I was younger. So we'll come back to it, but I worked in the rest of the series into my TBR, so I'm going to try to get all the way through The Lord of the Rings in July. The third one is The Great Library, which is read a book that's been on your TBR forever, and I've been really wanting to read Nevernight by J. Kristoff for a long time, ever since I heard about it, to be honest. So this seemed like a good excuse to read it, and on top of that, I'm doing Kristoff-a-thon. Nevernight is the July book in that. The next one is The Drowning Deep, which is read a book with rich world building, and for this I'm reading the 5th season by N.K. Jemisin. It's a science fiction book. It won the Hugo Award in 2016. I've just been wanting to read this for a while. That's why I'm reading that one. And then the last one that I have to read for scribes is the group book, which is Stardust by Neil Gaiman. I actually read this recently because it was the group book in the Owls Readathon back in April. We'll have to see. I'm not sure if I'm actually going to read the novel book of this. I think I might try to get a hold of the graphic novel instead, but I haven't quite decided yet. That might be one sort of last minute change. That's all of the scribe books that I have to read, but now I'm going to go back at the beginning and go through the other 12. First challenge is Crimson Peaks, which is reread a favorite, and for that one I'm also doing an ebook, so I'm doing The Foxhole Court by Nora Sakovic, I would guess is the pronunciation of her last name. You know, it's a favorite. I've been wanting to reread it recently anyway, and it's just a comfort book. Next is The Queendom Stone, which is read a book featuring royalty. I'm using this as an excuse to read the next book in Throne of Glass, which is Heir of Fire. I've been sort of working through this year. I had never read any Sarah J. Maas before this year, but I read Throne of Glass and Crown of Midnight earlier this year, and I just kind of haven't gotten to Heir of Fire since then, but I'm gonna read it. Next is The Forgotten Forests, which is read the next book in a series. I read The Raven Boys earlier this year also, but I haven't read The Dream Thieves, which is book 2. Yeah, same kind of deal as The Throne of Glass. It's just kind of something I feel like I should have read that I haven't yet. The Weeping Falls, read a tearjerker. Crooked Kingdom, it's happening. I read 6 of Crows. I feel like I'm telling the same story all over again. I read 6 of Crows this spring. Really liked it. Haven't gotten to Crooked Kingdom yet. Partially because, like, I liked 6 of Crows, but I didn't love it like everybody else does. Book Twitter is crazy about these books, so I've gotten some spoilers. I know why this is a tearjerker, but I'm not looking forward to it. Okay, Orc Grove is read a book that's gruesome. Catching Fire. When the news of the new Hunger Games book dropped, I immediately really wanted to read one of the Hunger Games books, and I actually listened to the first book in audiobook over spring break this year, just to see if it was like held up, I guess, because I haven't read it in a long time, and it did. Oh my god, still amazing. I think this qualifies as a gruesome book, you know, kids killing each other. Yeah, I was just really feeling like another reread of one of the Hunger Games books because of that news, so I built it into my TBR. Old Pirate Grove is read a book that takes place at sea, and for that I'll be reading V.E. Schwab's A Gathering of Shadows. This also, for the scribe, our weakness, I guess, is that we have to read a book that's over 500 pages. Some of these other books might also be over 500 pages. In fact, I'm pretty sure some of them are, but this is the one I double checked, and it's 509 pages. So that's that. This is another one where I read the first one, but I'm just using this as an excuse to continue reading the series. Glimmer is Read a Beautiful book, and this is my last ebook. I have an arc of The Girl the Sea Gave Back by Adrienne Young, and I'm going to be reading that. It's a beautiful cover. I'm looking forward to reading the book. The Draconic Isle is Read a book that features dragons, and here we're getting into my massive Lord of the Rings read. This is my copy of The Hobbit. It doesn't have a cover actually, but I promise that's what it is. And all these books are pretty old. That's the one I worked this into. Obviously there's a dragon. The Elven Guard is Read a book about war. The Two Towers, again with my Lord of the Rings read. The Hallow Isle is Read a horror book. I'm going to be reading Sock Girls by Claire Legrand. I was looking through my Goodreads TBR to see if I could find any horror, because that's not a genre I really read very much. And I stumbled across this, which classified as horror, I think, and I bought it. The Empty Barrel Read an Indulgent book. Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, my friends. I've been working through what I'm calling Isabel's extremely slow Harry Potter reread. I read The Sorcerer's Stone back in September. It was my freshman year of college. I just moved across the country, and I wanted to read something comforting, but also something about moving away from what you're used to. So I read Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, and it really gave me a lot of comfort, and it was really good and a good choice. And so since then I've been reading the next book in the series every couple of months. So I read Prisoner of Azkaban in May. So I think it's about time for the next book in Isabel's extremely slow Harry Potter reread. So that's what I'm doing for that. Oh, you can see my stack now. The last one is The Giant Squid, Read a book that intimidates you, and that would be The Fellowship of the Ring. Because I've tried actually on several occasions to get through this book and I never managed to do it, I'm gonna make it happen this readathon, guys. Hold me to it. So that's a book that intimidates me, and that's my entire Book Junkie Trials TBR. Obviously I've read some of these books, but not most of them, so let me know if you've read any of them. Let me know if you're participating in this readathon. Let me know if you're participating in this readathon and reading some of these books for the readathon, and we can read them together. And with that, I will say goodnight.